Like and subscribe right now, or this spider will crawl on your face when you're sleeping.
Releasing 1.5 million balloons went horribly wrong. Being human beings is all about testing the limits of the world around us. We always want to climb the highest peaks or build the biggest boats. Heck, it's always about bigger and better. And that's why we're always looking to break world records, because we want to outdo our peers and feel proud about all the achievements that we've made in our lives. That's why it's called human nature. So, what happens when we try to take our insatiable desire for great feats and push it to its limits? Well, a disaster, of course. In 1986, an attempt to shatter the previous world record of the most balloons released in a single go took place in Cleveland, Ohio. The event, which was publicized on television as a friendly fundraising show, turned out to be a disaster of epic proportions. In the end, the disaster came to be known as the infamous Balloon Fest '86. And today, we're here to revisit just what went wrong with this release of 1.5 million balloons in a single go. You won't believe just how this catastrophe led to the loss of innocent lives. Lives that could potentially have been saved if the event never took place. The crazy idea. In 1986, United Way of Cleveland, a non-profit organization based in Ohio, wanted to gain more traction for their company around the world. After hours of planning and brainstorming ideas, they decided the best way to do so was to break the world record for the most balloons released simultaneously that had been set in 1985 by Disney in Anaheim, California. This was in the wake of the company celebrating their 30th anniversary since the magnificent theme park was built in the mid-1950s. Well, it took United Way more than 6 months of planning to take the event from concept to reality. A large net structure the size of a city block was set up to contain the balloons. Located in Cleveland's public square, the site was designed to attract the largest number of onlookers possible. Talk about planning everything down to the last detail. In fact, a lot of technical research and consultation had to take place through the city permits. More than 2,500 volunteers, the majority of which were students, spent the morning of September 27th filling balloons with helium. Local media swarmed around the area, interviewing organizers, participants, and observers. At last, September 27th, the fateful day of the stunt, arrived. You can imagine how excited everyone was. In fact, the event was initially scheduled for the release of about 2 million balloons. But because of an initial weather prediction that a storm was fast approaching, the organizers decided to release the balloons earlier than was expected, with about 1.5 million considered the best bet. At exactly 1:50 p.m., more than 1.5 million balloons were released.
3, 2, 1, here they go! Liftoff! Amazing! And the fun!
And they rose up steadily to Cleveland's public square surrounding the terminal tower. All was going well, or so it seemed. With the balloons free, the organizers believed that they would remain in the air until they were fully deflated before falling back down to Earth. Unfortunately, that's not what fate had in mind. After the balloons were let go, these floating, elastic, colorful bundles of joy, filled with helium, collided with a front of cool air and rain, causing them to fall back down to the ground while they were still inflated. Here's where everything went wrong, as what happened next seems like a plot right out of a science fiction movie. Before we move on, I've got a little challenge for you that'll take 5 seconds to complete. So here's the deal. You just leave a like on this video, smash that subscribe button, and hit the notification bell, and you will get 25 years of amazing luck. Try it, it really works. A ticking time bomb. As millions of balloons fell back down to Earth, they littered all the land around them, not to mention clogging waterways all through the northeast of Ohio. To make matters worse, a large chunk of these balloons also washed ashore on the Canadian section of Lake Erie, making the lake look like a colorful sea of floating balloons. I'm sure every environmental activist was fuming at such a catastrophe and the dangers it posed. I mean, how irresponsible were the organizers to let such a disaster take place? But the balloons weren't done with their streak of destruction yet. A good number of balloons landed on farms and ranches across Medina County in Ohio. One ranch owner, Luis Nowakowski, owned some expensive Arabian horses in the area. According to reports, her horses were extremely spooked and bewildered by the unfamiliar items falling from the sky. This resulted in them being extremely injured, and Nowakowski went on to sue United Way for more than $100,000 in damages. Fortunately for her, the case was ruled in her favor, and the matter was settled for an unknown amount which was not disclosed to the public. Additionally, after several balloons landed on one of the Burke Lakefront Airport runways, the airport was forced to shut down for over half an hour, resulting in multiple flight delays and inconveniencing dozens of passengers. The balloons also resulted in multiple traffic collisions, nearly causing car crashes that could have been catastrophic. According to reports on the roads, drivers had to swerve to avoid slow-motion blizzards of multicolored orbs or took their eyes off the road to gawk at the overhead spectacle. However, the coup de grace of one of the worst publicity stunts in the world came when the balloons inadvertently impeded the search and rescue of two vanished fishermen. But before we go deeper into that, we've now come to the best pick of the day. As you can see, millions of balloons have been released in a public place. And while it might seem like an innocent and fun activity at first, all these balloons can disrupt driver vision and result in multiple accidents, not to mention littering all over the city. The missing men, Raymond Broderick and Bernard Sulzer, had been reported missing the day the event had taken place. Although their 16-foot boat was located anchored west of the Edgewater Park breakwall, the Coast Guard search and rescue crews were not able to find them. Since there were so many balloons scattered around, rescuers couldn't distinguish between a balloon or a person. On September 29th, the Coast Guard suspended its search, and the bodies of both men subsequently washed ashore days later. The wife of one of the men later sued United Way of Cleveland and the company that organized the event, a suit that was settled on undisclosed terms. In the end, the event did lead to a new world record being broken, but it didn't go off without a hitch. Despite releasing all the balloons, Guinness decided to reject the attempt because of all the damages caused by the balloons that were released in the air. Additionally, Cleveland residents were not amused with the mammoth budget the city spent on the event. Because the event was quite the spectacle, it certainly wasn't cheap. Balloon Fest 86 became an international sensation thanks to newspaper reports and the complaints that started flooding in its aftermath. One man, Floyd Riemenschneider from Yakima, Washington, was dismayed at the $500,000 the United Way spent. He also noted the hypocrisy in spending so much money on what was supposed to be a fundraiser. He noted, "It seems to me the money spent for this stunt, $500,000, could have been used to much better advantage, seeing as how most of the funds were probably from donations from people who donate because they believe their money is going to a good cause, such as helping out the more unfortunate." The only positive thing about the event, at least the latex balloons were biodegradable, despite the fact that it took several months for them to be broken down. Nevertheless, that didn't stop them from being an environmental nuisance, as we had mentioned earlier. In fact, the issue spread far past Ohio. According to a complaint by Ontario, Canada's resident P. Alan Woodliff, these balloons, being made of plastic, are not readily biodegradable and, thus, will create an eyesore for some time to come, or else be an unnecessary and time-consuming expense for someone to clean up. They may also be hazards to wildlife such as waterfowl, gulls, or tims. If there's one thing this tragic event proved, was that even the most harmless of actions and the best of intentions could lead to a disastrous outcome. With that said, we've come to the end of the video. I'm sure after seeing this, you'll probably think twice about releasing a balloon into the air again, right? Let us know in the comments section down below. It could just cause an accident nearby or result in a loss of life. So it's high time we took responsibility of our actions. Want more videos that will exist until the end of time? Click on any of the videos you see on the screen. As always, thanks for watching.